They were confident that you would return. They assumed that your silence was temporary. But what they did not understand was that when you close a chapter, you do it with intention. You do not announce your departure, you simply decide and move forward. And your silence was not immaturity, it was clarity. The last thing they expected was your silence. Not distance for a week, not temporary withdrawal, but complete departure. They believed that the bond between you two was unbreakable. They mistook shared pain for shared destiny. They assumed that no matter how they behaved, you would remain because they had positioned themselves as your only source of connection. But that isolation was not accidental. From the beginning, they had crafted an image: compassionate, generous, well-intentioned. They presented themselves as someone who cared deeply for you and for others. And for a time, you believed it. But patterns do not lie. You began to notice inconsistencies, small contradictions, subtle manipulations, moments when your joy was met with disruption. Every time you felt light, they introduced heaviness. Whenever you felt steady, they introduced tension. It was not random, it was rhythm. You began to see that your peace disturbed them and your distress energized them. You realized something sobering. They did not thrive on mutual happiness, they thrived on control. They understood your empathy. They understood your kindness, and they used both as leverage. Over time, the toll became visible. Your mind felt fogged, your body felt drained, your spirit felt burdened. Life itself seemed to resist you, not because you were failing, but because you were entangled. Eventually, awareness arrived. You saw the pattern clearly, not emotionally, but logically. And once seen, it could not be unseen. So you confronted it calmly, directly. You named what was happening. You refused to participate any further. And when change did not follow clarity, you chose separation. No announcement, no drama, just removal. Because sometimes the most powerful statement is absence. They never believed that you would leave, but you did. Not out of hatred, but out of self-preservation. Not to punish them, but to protect yourself. And in that decision, you reclaimed your peace. I'd like to end this message off with a parable. A lantern once burned brightly in a quiet room. A moth circled the lantern constantly. At first it seemed harmless, but the moth did not seek light for warmth, it sought it for control. Each time the moth would strike the glass, attempting to shake it. When the lantern would flicker, the moth would seem satisfied. The lantern began to dim, confused by its own instability. And one evening, the lantern was moved to another room with no announcement and no confrontation. The moth returned to an empty space, and without the lantern to disturb, it circled in darkness. Meanwhile, in the new room, the lantern burned steadily again. The lesson? Not every bond is sacred. Some connections are sustained by imbalance. When someone depends on your distress to feel powerful, distance becomes necessary. Peace often returns, not when others change, but when you step away. Sometimes the bravest act is not confrontation, it is departure. And sometimes the clearest proof of healing is silence. And that's it for this message. I'd like to thank everyone who made it to the end of the video. I'm truly honored by your support. If this message resonated with you at all, please consider dropping a comment, giving me some feedback, hitting the like button, and subscribing. It's been Chris Anisti, and until next time, take care and have a good one.